What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast, but we got something a little different here. We are live on 3 channels: the Philly Talk podcast, Bird Gang 31, Al Kabir, the analyst, not on Bryce, but we definitely going to get there. Eagles Real Talk, the Flyers, talking about the Eagles. But let y'all introduce yourselves for people who don't know on the other channel. Definitely, while this is going or after this, remember the names on the screen. They're all there to the left of us. Go ahead and go to their channels, like the video, and subscribe because they drop Eagles content 24/7, 7 days a week. I said that. It's in the 24/7. But go ahead, BG, introduce yourself.
Hey man, I'm BG31, Bird Game 31. I talk Eagles football. I'm Jalen Hurts' biggest fan for sure. And I think this Eagles team doing great this year, and can't wait to get into it.
I'm Al Kabir, the analyst. Look, talk Eagles football, talk a little of everything, but mainly Eagles football. And yeah, just come check me out. Drop shorts, things like that. Yeah, just talk football.
The first person to drop the Eagles shorts. My ass.
What's up, y'all? I'm Bry with Eagles Real Talk, and I am the flyest covering the Eagles in the game. But hey, man, I'm just happy to be on. I know me and Mike have been talking about this since last year. I've been on Bird Gang's channel. Me and Al Kabir have been talking for a while, so I'm just happy to be here. Talk Eagles football, the best team in the league. You know what I mean? So let's get it in.
Yeah, and the funny thing is there's no bias in saying the best. It's statistics. It's out there. The numbers say it.
Exactly.
Now, there have been some teams playing good. Before we get into this Giants matchup, I think all Eagle fans, we got to stay on a week-to-week basis as Nick Sirianni preaches, but we still looking at that big picture, and that is home playoffs and the NFC in its totality. So I'm going to ask each one of you guys, what NFC team scares you the most? That doesn't mean that you think they could beat the Eagles, but the NFC team that scares you the most. Go ahead, BG.
You gotta say probably the Cowboys, man. They got a defense, but I'm not really scared of them. I don't think we should worry about anybody in the NFC. But since we're talking about it, I'll have to pick the Cowboys probably because they do got Parsons. If Dak has a good game, they got some weapons out there, and if Zeke and Pollard's running that ball good, then they're pretty hard to stop. So that'd be the team I'll pick, the Cowboys.
All right. Bird Gang stole my answer, so I'm gonna just throw a wrinkle in there. It's two teams that I can say kind of scare me. One is the 49ers. I think the second might be mad at me with this one, but Washington make it in. They might be like one of those sneaky good teams. But I say the 49ers, even though they got a backup, they experience, they don't really use the quarterback as much. They use the run game and Debo Samuels, just get the ball in their playmakers' hands. And us being unexperienced in the playoffs, except that, one game against the Buccaneers, that could affect us. And Washington just catching fire. Like, I don't think they lost since us. I don't think they lost. It was a tie against the Giants.
Yeah.
But I don't think they lost. They've been on the winning streak. So it's scary to play teams that's hot like that in the playoffs.
I'm going to be a little different. I'm going to go with the Bucks, man, since they already beat us. I know the Bucks are 6-6. They look like trash most of the year. But at the end of the day, they had the formula, to beat us last year. And I think I think they have the Cowboys first round as it stands right now. I think they'll beat the Cowboys. I just think Brady will have their number in the playoffs.
He never lost to them. Brady never lost to the Cowboys.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Sometimes those things just last forever. You know what I mean? And knowing the Cowboys and their history in the playoffs, they don't want to hear that. So I would say the Bucks, but they don't necessarily scare me. Last year, I was even confident last year, but this year I'm over the moon confident as far as us, taking it to Brady and the boys. Mike Evans has been, a shell of himself this year. The defense has been banged up off and on, and then Brady hasn't even been himself as well. So I have us, going to the Super Bowl, but I think that's the biggest roadblock as far as us, making it.
Yeah, I like all y'all points. As much as I don't want to admit it, the Cowboys are playing good football since Dak came back. They did have the hiccup against the Packers, choking a 14-point lead, which I loved, by the way. But they still got a roster that, can, make some things happen. They dropped 40 and 50 on teams. Now, it was weird the way they did it against the Colts. You're not going to have that many turnovers in the fourth quarter to another NFL team normally, but they do have the firepower. And I do believe, and I say this all the time, working with Cowboy content creators, if they get that run game going, right? Kellen Moore wanted to be a passing team, and when they're passing the ball, mistakes are made. But when this year they've been able to fine tune that rushing attack, and it's made them more balanced. And I've always said that's the recipe for them. I don't want them to do it, but they're doing it this year. Again, still, I look at the Eagles and our roster on both the defense and offensive side and say we can stack up against anybody, and we could win on both sides of the ball differently. We need to throw for 300. We want to air it out. We can do it. And you don't want to get into a running game because it's our running backs who's about to get 1,000, our quarterback who can possibly get 1,000 too. Do it both ways. And same, we just held Derrick Henry to 30 yards. That's no small task. And we've held many quarterbacks to under 250 yards. So I like how we match up. To Bry's point, Brady's Brady. No matter how bad that team is, you don't want to mess with Brady in the playoffs. And Washington is hot. And San Fran, does anybody know, is Jimmy G out for the whole season? Is he done?
They said he's out
he's
6
done.
to 8 weeks. So that's pretty much, knocks. I don't know why they say that, because wouldn't that be like the Super Bowl around that time, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, he broke his foot. He should be out.
So they said 6 to 8 weeks, but they're not about to bring him back after all that time. You know what I mean?
NFC Championship, he's coming back. No, I'm just kidding. Against the Eagles.
Right. If they made it that far, you probably wouldn't need to bring him back anyway.
Yeah, true that.
And
you would probably
Purdy, or what's his name, lighten it up.
And Purdy looks solid. I mean, at the end of the day, this past week, I think people got kind of overhyped on his performance. Whenever a quarterback steps in, we've seen it so many times. A backup will step in and he'll have some highlights. He'll light up the defense, and then the next week he'll have 3 turnovers of two fumbles. You know what I mean? So I expect that this week, to be honest with you.
See, the thing with San Fran, though, like, they one of the few teams that don't need a quarterback. All they need him to do is don't make mistakes. They defense can handle it. That's all they need him to do.
Not to make mistakes. I don't trust that kid. He looked good. Don't get me wrong, but he's still a third stringer at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Hey, Mr. Irrelevant.
He was way down in that depth chart, lucky to even be on a roster. So if he goes on a playoff run, they need to sign him. Maybe he's the future. Maybe not Lance.
Yeah, I forgot about Trey Lance being a starting quarterback for a little bit before he got hurt. Now Jimmy got hurt. San Fran's definitely not lucky there. And the Eagles, knock on wood, we're getting healthier. We don't want to get any more injuries on this team offensively and defensively. Let's talk about this Eagles team in the playoffs or just in general. Through the 12 weeks of playing, 13 weeks of the season, what do you think is stronger, our offense or our defense?
That's a good question, man. It's almost equal. I love the way Gannon has actually been, using this defense. I think having linebackers at his disposal that we have now has definitely amped up the defense. But I have to say the offense, man, just because we've been putting up the numbers. I feel like Jalen Hurts, since he's the MVP, the front runner, I think you have to go with the offense at that point. But Slay and Bradbury, they're on lock mode. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, you just have to give it to the Hurts in the offense, especially with having AJ Brown on the squad now.
I'll go to defense. The defense been holding it down, especially after the bye. I think of the Colts game, like the offense just was not clicking. Made enough plays. Jalen Hurts was clutch for sure, but the defense held it down. And I could look at more games where the defense held it down more than the offense. The offense will pick it up, or in the beginning they'd be really good, but the defense will hold it down the rest of the way. So,
facts.
Yeah, and I think the game we lost, I could say it was more the offense fault why we lost that game. So I got to look at that too. So I say the defense is the best part of our team.
two good cases. They just made
Yeah.
really good cases for both. I'm like, man, now what am I supposed to say? I'd say push, man. Because like you guys said, we don't win without the other, regardless. You know, like they both do their thing. They both have like stars on each side of the ball. You know, every position. You know, this is not normal. You know, it's definitely not for an Eagles team to have every position out there. You know, even backups. Look at our DT room. That's like six starters in a row, like that can start on anybody's football team anywhere. You know, that's not even fair. Like, how you do stuff like that? You know, like this team's special, man. And it's like I wouldn't want to give no one else credit because like the defense done their job. They gotten turnovers, number one in the league turnovers. You know, the offense number two at offense in the league. You know, they're both playing at really high levels. We've only lost one football game, and that was just like not even like that was so unrealistic, uncharacteristic of the Philadelphia Eagles. Like things happened in that game we haven't seen all year long. And then it happened, and we still had a chance to win it a couple of times. And it is what it is. We're not undefeated, but we're definitely still the best team in the league, and I'm giving it to both of them. They both get trophies.
Yeah, so I mean, great points as BG said. Everybody made. I'm gonna slightly give the offense my vote for the simple fact, you know, I look at it like this: if the game was on the line, would I want the offense to have to score to win, or the defense have to get a stop to win? And I'm gonna go with the offense because of the clutchness of Jalen Hurts. I think Al Kabir made a great point that the game that we lost against Washington, our offense was bad, mainly due to the turnovers. But the defense, time and time again, just think about that. Yes, Washington converted like 14 third downs or something crazy. But at the end of the day, yeah, fourth quarter, the defense gave the ball back after the Goddard fumble. Was a face mask, but the fumble, defense got the ball back. Then the Quez Watkins fumble, defense got the ball back. Then the 3 and out, defense got the ball back. And then again, or no, then after that, we would have got the ball back without the BG flag, but the
Mhm.
defense was playing lights out in that fourth quarter. I think what Jonathan Gannon and a lot of people don't like is because he takes a little long to adjust. I think if he goes into a game plan and it works, like he did against Minnesota, like he did against the Jags, a lot of teams, then it looks great. But when he has to adjust, he takes a little longer. He does play a little passive, but if you look at the numbers, it's paid off throughout the season. I just think that you got to treat certain quarterbacks different and get them off their mark when they're killing you. So I think he just got to go for that kill shot a little bit better. But he has been better since the bye. He's always played a little more soft without Avante Maddox and the versatility.
True.
But seeing Josiah Scott step up the way he has, and Reed Blankenship, which I want to get y'all opinions on him, I feel really confident about this defense, even more so going into the playoffs because we are expected to get all our guys back. Again, knock on fake wood. But if now in 3 safety sets, sorry, Kavan, you got to put Reed Blankenship, the tackling machine, in there. And even on dime packages, which again, Cowboys can air it out. They have been running the ball good, but they can still throw the ball. And if we get to the Super Bowl, you might be playing against a Bills or a Chiefs air out game. And so dime packages, now I feel more comfortable, with Josiah Scott. But I'm going to give this slight edge to the offense, but this team is playing complete football. And like I said, early in the season, I was talking about the Eagles can win on the offensive side 2 ways, running and passing. I thought the only way the defense can win is by stopping the pass. But since the additions, yes, Jonathan Taylor went off that first drive, but then we held him to 2.3 yards a carry. We held King Henry, to like I said, under 3 yards a carry.
Yep.
So I feel real confident in this team. So I like everybody's opinion on that.
Facts. And we're getting Jordan Davis is getting more healthy. I mean, CJ will be back eventually, even though I know you said we're going to talk about Reed, but, he stepped in. Josiah stepped in. I feel like our defense is built for the long run, and even with, guys out, we're still making plays. So I would have to say, I'm leaning towards the defense now. Not even,
you sold me.
And to your point, I feel like both sides of the ball kind of do that in the beginning of the game. They kind of start out vanilla-ish. It's like pick your poison type offense and defense for us. Like, what do you want to do to us? We have all the skill positions to make the adjustments to stop whatever you're trying to do, but we just want to see what you're going to do to us first. We're going to start out with this vanilla stuff. If it works, like you says, some play action, we get a touchdown because we got all-star receivers, cool. But in reality, it's like they're kind of just playing chess. Like, let me make a move. Let's see what you're going to do. And then now I know what you're going to do, and you can't change it from there on. All stars, whether you star receivers, tight ends, or running backs, we stop. We shut down. It's always the nobodies, the no-namers that have big games against us. It's
That's
like, who
so
are
true.
you, dude? You just scored a touchdown. Slavis, Stevenson. You're like, what? Who was that? And like, Pierce, he had a big game against us. No one really expected it. He's a beast. He's young, but you're worried more about a Saquon or Henry or a freaking Cooks or something like that, way more than you thought about anything with Pierce. So I just feel like the Eagles, as long as we're doing what we got to do, we're playing those teams. Like you said, the Niners might be a really, good matchup against us too, because they didn't have a lot of good players, but they also have some players that, are just role players. And
Yeah.
those are the teams that scare me the most in that situation. But the Eagles should work it out.
Agreed.
Yeah. So now let me ask y'all. Let's get to the Giants because that's who's on the schedule this week. They're 7-4-1. Early in the year, we saw their chippiness, right? Beating the Tennessee Titans by going for it for 2. They beat the Baltimore Ravens. They beat the Packers before we found out that they were not who we thought they were. Trash, except for when they played the Cowboys. But all in all, how do you feel about this Giants game? Do you believe Saquon's playing? And if for some reason we lost, how would it be in your mind? I don't see it. I know y'all don't see it, but if give me the reason that we could lose if something happened, and then tell me what your prediction will be. We'll start with you, BG.
If we lose, it's because Saquon went off on us. They're faking. They're pulling the rug over our heads, saying he's hurt. He's not really that hurt, and he just like has one of them Saquon monster games, man. Like, he's doing it.
Would
on
help
the
my
ground.
fantasy, but I take the Eagles over my fantasy. I could use it though. I'm
I wouldn't play
teetering
him.
with the playoffs too.
I
So
wouldn't
it's a
play him.
big
He's a
week for
star
me.
running back.
Hey, Mike, I have a strict rule, man. No Giants players on my squad, bro.
Saquon was just sitting here. He was sitting there.
It.
He was sitting there late. Like I don't know why he was there late. I had to get him.
You can't not get him. Like, but like when he's healthy, you see what he's the 4th leading rusher in the league right now. He's doing his thing, and then it helps like Daniel Jones too. All of a sudden, he's the runner. He's putting up rushing yards. It might be 60 there, 70 yards there, and it's just they got the team that they're fighters. It's a division rival game, so I feel like if Saquon goes off in New York, it'll be really hard to stop these guys because that's our thing. We stop anything. So if he's going off, that means we're not stopping him, and there's a problem going on somewhere.
All right, so that's your version of if we lose. Now, what do you see happening this week?
We're gonna destroy him. I told you, star running back. He's a star running back. He's gonna get shut down this game for sure. It's a fact. All the stars they get shut down. All the stars we played, they've gotten shut down. I don't think it's gonna be any different with Saquon because we're focused on him. We know what we got. We know we got to stop him. He's a beast. You don't be the 4th leading rusher in the league and be nobody. So. His thing is, can he stay healthy all the time? See, he could get in the game. He can get hit by one of our defensive linemen or linebackers and not want to play no more. Who knows?
You got a score prediction?
If they win?
No, for your real prediction, like us destroying them.
Oh, if we destroy them, I'm going to say something like, we got to get to 42-17.
I'll take it. Real quick, though, shout out to Robert Dredden with the $5 super chat. He says, salute Eagles Nation. It's the season to be jolly. Giants and Cowboys still are sorry. I agree. And like I said, Christmas Eve is going to be either listen, I think we could beat them. I think we are going to beat them.
It's going to be war, man.
But, man, Christmas, I really wish that game was just not Christmas Eve. Like,
I'm trying to wake up on Christmas so happy with a dub, man.
Right.
Yeah, bro. And I want that win so bad, man.
Dude.
Big facts.
That was though. Yeah, that was I don't even think that game was close enough for me to even be worried about this game. Like, yes, they're good, but they're not us.
Yeah, I hear you.
There's a difference. There's levels.
And they lost Brown too. They lost. He's the number 2 corner, right?
Yep.
I think that's gonna be a big Quest game, man. And a big Devontae game. They're probably gonna try their hardest to stop, AJ, and our other guys are just gonna tear them up that game.
Mm-hmm.
I
think AJ gonna eat that game too.
I would love for him to get Trayvon, you know what I mean? Because Dallas be and Trayvon's a good player, but you know what I mean?
He's overrated though.
But even with Parsons, like we're the only
It's
team to
over.
ever just
That's
like
no lie, man.
we're the only team to ever just like erase them from a football game.
How
We
many
erased
picks,
them from that football game.
does he have this year?
Hmm?
How many picks does he have this year?
Nowhere near like he had last year. But
Exactly. Last year was
His coverage is better though.
That was a
yeah, I
fluke,
would
dude.
say he's not getting beat over the top like he used to.
Yeah.
True.
So I think it goes hand in hand. And like I said, duplicating the interception series like that is like almost impossible. But he has stepped up in other ways. But Al Kabir, real quick. So give us the scenario that the Eagles lose the game, and then give me your honest prediction with the score prediction at the end.
The only way I could see the Eagles losing this game is that they run the game was clicking, the weather got involved, and the football guys, I don't know, like it was just meant for us to lose that game for whatever reason. Unusual drops, maybe some unusual picks. I don't know. That's the only way I could see us losing this game, but I don't see that happening. I actually believe Miles Sanders would get to his 1,000 this game before AJ Brown. The only reason why is because of the weather. It's probably going to be a run-heavy game. Going to use the same formula we used to beat Jacksonville, and I think we win that game. Just Miles Sanders is going to have a day. Yeah, Jalen Hurts going to get his yards. A couple guys going to get their yards, but Miles is just going to have that another like 100+ yards game. So.
All right.
What's your score prediction?
Score prediction, real quick.
I'll give it like 35-17 or something like that. I don't see them scoring a lot of points either.
I respect. Go ahead, Bri.
All right, so I was thinking while you guys were giving your thoughts on it, and I think the only way we lose to the Giants, especially with him being banged up, Saquon, is if the refs get on their the refs gotta be on some BS, and then on top of that, we have to just be dropping balls or, it just has to be one of those fluke games. I don't know how this team beats us because, they don't have no wide receivers. And that's one of our strongest points on defense is our secondary. So they're not going to throw on us. And then with Saquon coming in with a neck injury, that is kind of alarming to me personally because those guys got to bang, and in a game like this where it's going to be raining, they have to beat us on the ground. So I don't think they'll be able to go to Saquon like they usually do. So I just don't see them beating us. But if they do, I think the refs got to be playing a part, and we just have to have one of those fluky, against like the Commanders type of game where we're just making mistake after mistake, fumbles type thing. So, but I don't see that happening. So I think we're going to tear them up, honestly, because at the end of the day, they have no wide receivers. Like I said, like they have Kenny Holiday. I call him Kenny Holiday because ever since he got paid, he's been on a vacation. He's been on holiday status.
PTO.
They have really nobody on offense that scares me. Even Saquon, just like Bird Gang was saying, we've been shutting down stars. I think Gannon is putting a point of emphasis on the best player on the other team to shut him down, because how can they beat us? How could the Titans beat us if Derrick Henry doesn't go off? And same with Jonathan Allen and Aaron Jones on the Packers. We shut those guys down. So as long as we do that, stack the box, let the corners do what they do, we're going to walk out 34-20. I actually have a scoring, in the 40s now. I've been kind of thinking about it over the past couple of days. I think we're going to put up a 40-point game on them. I just think we're going to run all over them. They have a terrible run defense. They're ranked near the last in yards per game. I think like 141.1 per game they allow. That doesn't bode well for them, with Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. And no one said it yet, but the giant killer, Boston Scott. I think Nick Sirianni loves this rivalry stuff within our division. He knows the history. So I think he's going to make it a point of emphasis to get Boston at least a couple touches in the red zone. And if he does, he's going to score at least once. So I have us having one of those 3 rushing touchdown games with a couple pass TDs. And we'll probably, maybe even get a pick 6 on Daniel Jones, man. He's due up. He used to be a fumble machine. I know he's cleaned it up a lot this year, but, with our pass rush just humming right now, I mean, they're just humming like Kid Cudi right now, man. So, I just think, I think we're going to definitely get to the quarterback. Last week, they gave up like 10 quarterback hits and 4 sacks, I believe, something like that. So it just doesn't bode well for any Giants fans that are in the chat, man. You guys may have a long day, bro. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, one thing, just watch out for Daniel Jones' legs too. I know we saying stop Saquon, but man, Daniel Jones, he could run. I give him that.
And I 100% agree with you, because what did Tannehill do last game? He kind of ran on us.
Yeah, he was their leading rusher. He had 34 yards. He had 4 more yards than Henry.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I agree with you, Al, for sure.
Yeah, I said that on I did a preview on Thursday, and I said, listen, Saquon got to be our main focus, but we saw when we focused on King Henry what Tannehill did. Daniel Jones, he don't look athletic, but he is. Yeah. He's way quicker, way better, way more dangerous as a runner than Tannehill, and he got us on key situations, 4th downs. He converted some first downs. He had 34 yards, and the Giants really do use him more when they play the Eagles. Think about it. He scored like multiple touchdowns against the Eagles. When they get inside the 20, it's that quarterback zone read and go. That's just what they do. So just keep that on in your mind. I agree.
We all remember when he ran. Remember when he broke one down the middle and he fell right before. So yeah, he definitely he has that run capability, especially against the Eagles for some reason.
I agree. He looks across and sees, Jalen Hurts. He's like, I got to show my legs too.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, I don't see us losing. But if we did, it would be pretty much a combination of all your points. It's just one of them games where we are shooting ourselves in the foot, and for some reason we can't stop the run. We can't get off the field. They're running on us, and when we got the ball, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. Again, the Giants are beat up. This 7-4 record sounds better than what they really are in my eyes, because they were just like 7-1. And so if you look at it in a sample size of 3 or 4 games, it's not good because of all the injuries. And listen, it happens,
Yep.
I don't wish it on them. I hope they all get better. I'm gonna keep knocking on fake wood for the Eagles for sure. But what is going to be on the field for the Giants is nothing that we should really be scared of, especially with their best player coming in with a neck injury. Running backs, every play they finish on the ground, and they got a bang, as Bryce said, and so it's not good. But real quick, I love this man's name, Pauls. I always shout him out. Big Fish Little Boat, one of the best names on YouTube. I like it. Shout out to you with the $5 super chat. You said, my guy, the Giants are trash. Let's go, Birds. I 100% agree with that. Again, I know Philly 500 got a lot on the line with the bets and stuff. We can't. Eagle Nation, the Eagles got to do it for everybody, because 12-1 just sounds so good. Key of Destiny with the $5 super chat. We appreciate you. If Jordan Davis plays more, we can stuff the elite Dallas offense. We'll be hurting in the pass defense without CJ Gardner-Johnson, but Maddox returning is great. Yeah, CJ won't be there for Dallas, but he'll be there for the important games in the playoffs. And guess what? This might not be the last time we see Dallas. Listen, I would love for them to. I was talking on a NFC East roundtable, right? Shout out to Key of Destiny, though. Yeah, I think if you stuff the run and make Dak beat you, it's gonna pay in the Eagles' favor. But I said this to the NFC East crowd. I said, what's going to be crazy? Well, this was before. I don't know if the Giants are going to be able to hang on to it, but it would have been crazy for the Eagles to have a first-round bye. And wild card weekend, we're watching the NFC games like this: Dallas and Bucks, Giants and Niners, and Washington and Vikings. Right?
That'd be lit.
We're sitting back, relaxing, watching the NFC East, the rest of the East, take on a NFC opponent. And then,
and in the process, get more beat up. The playoffs more physical. So I would just be salivating, man, just waiting for them to come to the league.
See, the thing is, though, I don't think the Giants get in. That's my thing. I think they're gonna lose to us, and they're gonna lose to the Minnesota Vikings, and that's just. I don't know if they get that.
Schedule, man, and honestly, I think they're gonna finish.
Yeah, they lose
8-9 or 9-8. Just
they got Washington one more time too.
Yeah, and that might be the game that decide who get in. But
Washington, right?
Yeah, I think Washington get in.
And I
I don't
originally
think the
had us
Giants.
losing to them at the end of the year, but now with the division kind of being close, I don't think we're gonna sit our guys that last game. I think we're gonna have to with the Cowboys. You know,
If
I
we
think
beat Dallas on Christmas Eve, then we
Yeah.
definitely gonna be able to sit
okay,
our
you're
guys.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're right.
If we lose that game, well, now every other. But listen, this is still the good thing. Well, I don't want to lose that game because it's on Christmas Eve. Listen, but if
Can't.
we win every game on our schedule, but the Cowboys, they still can't catch us.
Yeah.
So it's like we beat the Cowboys, then we could rest for sure against the Giants.
But then I raised this question though. I want to know you guys' opinion on this because I've been thinking about this. Do we rest our guys though? Because then we'll have 2 weeks off. You know, is a rust? Will rust pay a little? You know, I don't know. I just sometimes I'm weary about resting guys the last one of the season, especially if you have a bye that next week. Yeah, it's 2 weeks off, you get the rest, but that rust can set in, man, and that could.
I think you let them play a half.
With an offense like we have, I think just keeping them out there. Jalen Hurts, you know, he stays healthy for the most part. I would actually love to go 16-1, man, and just beat the Giants last game of the season. But I want to know you guys' opinion on that because I've been going back and forth.
I say let them play the first half, even though I think that rust thing, to me, honestly, I think it's a myth because Cowboys did that twice. Remember, they let their guys sit, and then they played the playoff game and lost the first round or something like that. And then they just did that last year. They let their guys play, and they still lost. They first game. So I guess it don't really matter. But if you just want to get those guys going, I mean, I guess play them the first half. But you don't want to risk any injury though. That's my thing.
Sure.
Well, let's just say this, right? The Eagles are normally good off the bye. Again, this is a new era. We can't be thinking about what we did with Doug and Andy Reid and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is, you know, based on your coach and your team style. Like there's certain coach and certain teams that are fire off of a bye week. There are also teams that start slow off a bye week. I don't really know where we are. I know we came off the bye. We came off the bye against Pittsburgh, and that was one of our better offensive performances at first. A balanced attack. Miles had over 100 yards. Jalen was cruising with 275 and sat the whole fourth. And I'm going to have to go back and look at what we did after the bye last year. So I think that is key in this situation. Shout out to Jaquan Williams with the $1.49 super sticker. We appreciate you, bro. But I think that's key in the situation here. But 2 weeks is long, you know.
a long time.
That's the thing. Having a bye, like, you know, last year we rested our players, right? Going into the playoffs, we didn't play them against the Cowboys. We didn't need it, but we rested the players for a week. Then we played against the Bucks. Now you could say we were a little rough around the edges against the Bucks.
Nice.
Were we inexperienced? Was it rust? Was it the defense of the Bucks playing that good? Who really knows? But that's tough because if you do play them, even like BG said, for a half, if somebody of importance gets hurt, you're going to want to throw up. Like, it's going to be so, just because you're going to know in the back of your head,
I will
us
throw up.
and the fans, yes, you're going to be like, bro, we didn't have to play. So what's more important, health or shaking off a little rust? You know what I mean? But listen, I'm more of a play it safe kind of guy. And so I would have to sit him because if I'm not even going to say certain players' names go down. And mind you, it's the Giants. They don't like us. And if they know they're not going into playoffs and we are, and all the hype around us, you just never know. So listen,
Right.
I would hate to be rusty, but I'd rather be rusty with all my guys and then be able to get out off that rust after the first quarter than to be sitting there like, I'm not even going to say certain people who get hurt that are really important for this team, but you know. So I would have to play it safe. It's just who I am. It would hurt me.
I agree with you. I think I agree with you guys because thinking about it now, I think we have just the weapons. We didn't have AJ last year. We didn't have, you know, certain pieces on defense that we do this year. So maybe actually the rest could actually benefit a team like this because we've been going hard all year. You know, I think some teams just take days off, honestly. You and the Eagles are really trying to go after, that number 1 seed. So maybe at the end of the year, they can see it as like, we deserve this. We deserve to take this, this week off. Let's get rested. But yeah, it'll be tricky. It'll be tricky.
Either way, we're gonna blame them, right? Somebody gets hurt, we're blaming the coaching staff. If we come out in the first quarter of a playoff game and we're losing, say we're playing against whoever, and it's like 7-0 going into the second quarter or 10-0. So this is who we are.
True.
Yeah.
Never satisfied in that matter.
But yeah, BG, you said you would play him a half.
Yeah, man, I would play him a half still. You can't be scared. It's football. Play him a half. Keep him going. Get the juices flowing another week before you take a bye. Bye week. Yeah, a week is long enough. If you can handle a week being off, that's enough rest for you. Figure out who you're going to play, then get to that next week and go play him. You don't want to have to extended time off because it can even get people hurt. Sometimes people too lax. They get a game, try to go full speed, and then pull something. And it's like, there's no real way. Like you said, we're not going to be happy either way. We said we started whatever. We just want to see him win, and whatever Nick thinks at the time is the best thing to do with this football team, I'm sure he's going to do it.
And Nick, we trust.
We
trust.
Let me ask y'all. I think BG is onto something because I think the happy medium here is playing them a half. And we're good enough to tear the Giants up in one half, go into halftime, up 23 or something like that.
Yeah.
And let Gardner, go in there, Minshew go in there, take care of business in the second half. I actually agree with Bergame.
Yeah, treat it like a preseason game, right?
A
couple drives, a half, a quarter, get the juices flowing for sure. And it really is a bigger question because of that first round bye. Like last year when we rested our players, I didn't care about resting our players against Dallas because it was like having a bye. But having the rest plus the bye, that's just a little extra long. And, the biggest grind about football is keeping, as Jalen Hurts says, the main thing. I love that saying. I be saying it around the house to my son and stuff, like, keep the main thing. He's trying to do his homework and watch TV at the same time. I'm like, keep the main thing. It's cool though, but
it's a good quote.
Yeah, but consistency and just repeat, rinse and repeat. And so players are used to having 1 week off because of the bye week during the season. But 2 weeks off is something that it takes you out of your comfort zone, as BG said, and then you come back a little too lax. But let's get to a big topic now, because in the offseason, a lot of people said Miles Sanders has like something of a lose-lose. I was one that said, now I always believed in Miles Sanders. I compared him to LaShawn McCoy multiple times, not exactly play style, but because it's crazy. They're 10 years apart being drafted. They were both drafted in the second round. Both pick number 53. I'm not sure if y'all know that, but yes, second round, 53 overall. And look at their stature. They're the same height and weight. And, I just love that. Now, we saw the Sanders rookie year, big time. And then health and opportunities held him back. Mm-hmm. But he's having a top 5 running back year, about to break a K, not week 16, 17. He's about to break a K by week 14 through a lot of our eyes. Do you see a happy medium? And again, our talk in the offseason was if he plays bad or gets hurt, well, then you got to move off him, because paying running backs in this era is not smart when you got to pay the quarterback and the wide receivers making over $20 million now and blah, blah, blah. It's more of a 2-back set anyways. With that being said, we said if he plays bad, you got to move off him. If he plays too good, we might not be able to afford him. Do you see a scenario where he's still affordable via Howie and him work something out where he's getting paid top 11, top 12? It's not really hurting us, but could you see a 3-4 year deal, or is Miles leaving us after breaking 1,000 yards for the first time in a long time? We had it. What did y'all take now on that Miles Sanders topic?
He got to take that hometown discount, man.
Right?
He got to take that discount.
But I think Howie knows how to set the contract up where he's going to still get paid. Like, a lot of people like that bonus money and that stuff that doesn't go in the books. It's like they get a big lump sum of cash right off the jump. And maybe Howie can work that out. Hey, I'm going to give you a lot of money up front, and then you just sign this little.
He's done it.
Might not be the best, running back in the league, but at least you get paid some money here. And like, it's something small, like you said, 2-3 years. make sure that we want to keep them. Because I don't think the money thing is going to be an issue over the next couple of years. Like the NFL is trying to go more like, the other sports and be able to pay their players more money. There's more revenue coming in. So I think, it's going to be back to the point where we can pretty much keep the players we want to keep on our teams, in a couple of years down the road when some of that TV money start kicking in there.
Real quick, though, before you go, Jaquan Williams with the $10 super chat. We appreciate you. He said, rest will work for us because of how we approach each game this year. Dallas will lose to us as long as Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey stay healthy. Dallas bringing the same D we put 20 in one quarter on, and we stop the run. Mm-hmm. Listen, I think that the game we played Dallas, the way their defense defended us, they're pretty much saying they couldn't do nothing without the RPO. I think we got something really funky in store for them when we play them next time. I think we learned a lot from that game. And mind you, Jalen Hurts passing the ball, he got a little spooky a little bit in that Dallas game and the Arizona game because the blitz was affecting us. And it wasn't just Jalen Hurts. Shout out to the people in the comment section who pointed this out. It was the play calling. We didn't have a lot of hot routes and all that into the playbook, right? But Jalen Hurts, since the bye week, has been crushing the blitz. And so if Dallas is going to come with the heat, I think we have the recipe to beat them. And I think it's going to be a difference. But shout out to Jaquan. We did put up 20. We were the first to put up 20 and multiple touchdowns on that so-called top defense in the league, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And Miles Sanders, he's ranked right now. He's tied with Jalen Hurts with 9 touchdowns. You know what I mean? So last year,
all three of them got 9 though. Our stars. AJ got 9. Jalen got 9. I know it's receiving is different, but that's money.
But the thing about it is, Miles has way less attempts than some of these other guys like Josh Jacobs, Henry, Chubb. These guys, they're workhorses. And I feel like we found that happy medium, like you were saying, with our run game and Miles. And I think we should bring him back. I don't know how much he's going to be asking for on the market this year in the summertime, but I think he's a perfect back, that RPO with Jalen Hurts. He just gives you that dynamic, running ability through, especially with our offensive line, man. I mean, and even if Kelsey retires, we're going to plug in Cam Jurgens in there. We're going to keep it moving. Lane Johnson, the best right tackle in the league. I think we'll draft a running back, probably a bigger back this summer as well, or this spring. And I think we just keep it moving with Miles and Jalen Hurts in that RPO.
Yeah, real quick, shout out to Chris Brown with the $2 super chat. He said, "Are we worried about Matt Breida?" What's y'all take on that?
No.
I don't
Why?
think so. I mean, he's fast, but but I'm not really worried about him.
Nah, again, I still think we got to see a longer sample size of us stopping the run, but it's been good since the additions and Jonathan Gannon making that a focal point. Again, BG did say though the no-name players are the ones that go up. You don't really prepare for a Matt Breida, and boom, he has 89 yards, 90 yards in the first half. Then we got to adjust quickly and go ahead and do what we got to do. Real quick though, shout out to my guy CFT. He's the one that be in the NFC East roundtables with us. And listen, we put some respect as much as we can physically do out of our mouths on the Cowboys when we talked about early in the stream who's the scariest team for the Eagles, and a lot of us picked the Cowboys or at least noticed them. I'm not saying y'all didn't make no changes, but I do think that the Eagles protection up front, hot routes, are going to be able to help against the Cowboys the next time we play. Listen, y'all going to change it up too. You're not coming in with the same thing. I bet you DeMarcus Lawrence ain't going to be talking that talk, though. You know what I mean, about Jalen Hurts. All that being said, we're both going to make changes. I just think that our offense is better suited this time around. And guess what, CFT? I said it also. When we play on Christmas Eve, that might not be the last time we play. We might see y'all for the third time. The third time is what's going to be for all the marbles. Although a win and loss will affect my kids' Christmas because I'm going to Grinch it all up. I'm going to Grinch it up. The game's not going to be over till 7 o'clock. My wife is Latina, so we celebrate Christmas Eve, and the kids get to open the gifts in the morning. But, man, it's going to be a lot of Grinch going around. But that playoff game will bring the spirits back if it gets set up that way for sure.
I swear CFT say stuff just to trigger Eagles fans.
He do. He's good at it. But
Especially on
I want to
Twitter.
let him know we see him in here.
And the biggest difference too is like we got the defensive linemen. Like we didn't have those players the first time we played them. Like Sue, Linval, these guys are trying to win a championship. Straight up. They don't care being backups. They don't care, rotational player or whatnot. They're going to go in there and they're going to do their job. They've been doing their job at a high level since they got to the team. We're getting Davis back. Milton Williams not playing back. He makes sure his name is called throughout the game to make sure that he's still in this defensive line. You're starting to see Reddick light it up. Man, I'm not worried about nobody.
And remember this too.
Yeah.
Dallas is going to be back for Dallas. You know what I mean? So I think Goddard, that's going to be a big game that he comes in. He's been well rested. You know what I mean? He's going to be breaking tackles, getting that, yards after catch. I think it's going to be a big game. And like I said earlier, man, with them losing their number 2 corner, it's just going to be tough for them to guard our wide receivers. I don't know how they're going to, stick to A.J. Brown and then just forget about our other Batman. We coming through with the Batmobiles to Dallas, bro. So I'm just letting you know right now, CFT, we coming through. We got the bat signal up, above y'all stadium, and it's gonna be a long.
They got a dome though. They got a dome,
bro.
They got a dome. We're not gonna be able to see. They gonna block it. They gonna block it.
Hey, I'm pulling up.
I'm gonna say this about their backup corner though. I think it's Kevin Joseph, if I'm not mistaken. He ain't no
fat.
Yeah, he ain't no slouch though. I ain't gonna lie though. He good, but
I liked him coming out of college. He's had a little on and off the field things keeping him, and I thought, I liked him coming out of college. I didn't like that he went to the Cowboys.
About to run routes around that boy.
We'll see.
We're on fire, guys. No one can stop us. Like they can't touch our stuff. Okay? Period. Nobody. Like not a team.
And they
not
know.
One. Not the Bills. Not Kansas City. Not San Francisco. Not Dallas. None of these teams, man. Like we already smoked Dallas. We already smoked Minnesota. Like who do we need to smoke? We just smoked King Henry in Tennessee. Like we can do whatever we want when we want to do it.
I do give us that though.
Possibly the best defensive line, best quarterback in the league this year. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, top duo at wide receiver. I mean, we're loaded, man. I mean, we're loaded, and they can't even deny it this year. It's our year. Period. Sorry.
Remember earlier, I was like, we can have like 3,000-yard receivers. And everybody's like, no way. We'd be lucky if we get the one. It's like, no, we really can. Goddard could still come back and maybe get 1,000 yards if he has a couple of big games. You know what I'm saying?
That's gonna be tough. He's at he was on pace.
He was on pace for sure.
Is he down for the rest of the season?
No, but
it was 4 weeks. But
he's not coming back this week. And so if he comes back if he comes back next week, right? Or no? Yes, no.
Dallas. That's a
no. I heard he's going to be back against the Bears.
All right, so then he got the Bears, the Cowboys, the Saints, and the Giants. Right, 4 games. He would need over 100 yards in each. Where he's at now. But he was on pace before he got hurt. He's at 544.
And Giants, we might let him rest.
Okay, so maybe not him, but we got Smitty, we got AJ both looking at it.
Smitty only needs 289. Smitty needs 289. So I still think that we're gonna have 1,000-yard rusher. And 1,000-yard receiver or 2,000-yard receivers, but 1,000-yard rusher
and 1,000-yard. That's crazy.
Cool. 2,000-yard rushers
for 1,000 too.
Hey, listen, no quarterback in NFL history threw for 4,000 and ran for 1,000. So it will be tough. I think they did the mark at 78 yards a game for Hurts rushing. And I don't know what he would need passing. I think they said 212 yards passing and 78 yards rushing without sitting your guys would make him be the first 4,000 and 1,000 because we've seen Michael Vick get a K. We've seen Lamar Jackson get a K. But when they got a K, they were only in the 3,000 yards passing. So we never seen a 4 and 1.
Just give Hurts the MVP right now.
Yes. I've been saying
all off season. Right now,
this guy is ridiculous.
He's got 29 touchdowns total with 3 picks and 1 fumble loss. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has triple that, and I think he's up to 9 interceptions this year. So it's like, man, where's the debate here? We're 11-1, about to be 12-1. There's no debate for me. He's the He's the hands down MVP. He should be unanimous like Lamar was that year, to be honest with you.
Hasn't even had a bad game.
No.
You know?
Not lost because
Never.
Hold up real quick. So listen, I just want to mention this to CCFT. I do love the stats when it's backed up by playoff success. So again, we can only talk about the stats now because that's all that's here. Trust and believe the Eagles are one and done. Well, then I don't really care. I mean, it's good to have 1K wide receivers if you're the Eagles because it hasn't been since 14. But again, it's not the end all be all because we've won a Super Bowl without having
like
1,000-yard wide receiver.
Jealous of the stats, honestly.
Well, no. Last year the Cowboys had the stats last year. They had Cowboys had a season a couple years ago where they had 2,000-yard receivers, a 4,000-yard quarterback, and a 1,000-yard rusher. But that ended in playoff defeat. So again, the Eagles got to have the stats and then the wins in the playoffs to back it up. And we can't talk about the wins in the playoffs yet because it hasn't been seen. But I believe it's around the corner. And real quick, Jaquan been supporting the topic today, hard body. We appreciate you, Jaquan Williams, with the $2 donation. CD Lamb will get that Justin Jefferson treatment.
I think
Locked
so.
up, they won't let him out. Ooh.
Like Akon that.
Listen, real quick, it's not double standards. I'm telling you. Listen, if I'm not even gonna say, but if my team had the Cowboy stats, I would have been pumping my chest like Cowboy fans do. Yeah. That year when they had two 1K receivers, a 4K passer, and a 1K rusher. But then my chest would have got deflated if I lost in the playoffs first round. And that will happen to me. But I'm still pumping until late December.
I mean, imagine.
And you know how, real quick, and you know why we won't lose in the first round? Because he won't have to play.
Be playing.
Got him. Got him.
Automatic advance.
Woo!
Imagine if the Cowboys were 11-1 with, an MVP at quarterback, and then with the defense that we got. Imagine them. Imagine if they had, man, they would just be woofing from here to the end of time, bro. So I'll just say this. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. We just literally came through. We're not just putting up numbers on these dudes. We're actually winning games. So, I mean, so for them to say, oh, we're just talking about stats, is because the stats are not lying right now. We're actually, proving it behind the numbers. So when Cowboys fans say that, it just doesn't make no sense to me.
No, but again, and I love talking about trash, but in all seriousness, I do believe the top two teams in the NFC are the Eagles and the Cowboys. Thanks. And San Fran was a team that I think I would have been worried about because of the way they play defense, of the way they run the ball, and the way they utilize Christian McCaffrey. And they do got some playmakers in Kittle and Debo, but without a quarterback, it's just, I mean, they still got the grinded out team to win ugly games without a quarterback, as Al Kabir said. But it really was Cowboys and Niners as teams to be worried about. You can still look at Tom Brady and say, listen, don't disrespect the GOAT. You can look at the Vikings and say, if Kirk Cousins gets over his primetime fears or playoff fears, they got a good roster around Kirk Cousins. But I still think that with the Cowboys having Dak Prescott, who has been playing in the system with the run game, and I told CFT this a lot. If they can air, and we talked about this early, if and when the Cowboys marry their running game with their passing game, it's going to make them better. They never did it. They're doing it this year. They do get Tyron Smith back. That's going to help out the run game and the pass game. But again, they are the top two teams in the NFC. But I just think when push comes to shove, in that cold weather in Philly, if it needs to be, again, I'm not really talking about Christmas Eve because I'm not sure how much that matters. We will see when we get to Christmas Eve. Did the Dallas Cowboys lose one before that? Did the Eagles lose one? If Christmas Eve matters, then we talk about it. But I really do see a scenario. If the Cowboys keep playing their brand of football, there's a collision in the NFC Championship that could be realistic, and that will be for you would have to win. Cowboys would have to win 2 playoff games in a row, though. That's not really heard of. Take some 20,
which they don't really do ever.
That's the thing. Cowboys do this every regular season. Right.
It's going to be relevant. And it's like, I feel like we need to pump our chest out a little bit more because us as fans, we can do it. Our team's not doing it. These guys are taking it one game at a time. They're not out there saying that they're the best. Like you said, those numbers just coming. We're just breaking numbers just by playing football, doing the game we love, playing at a high level. But as fans, we can say whatever the heck we want. And we can be as pumped as we want to be about it because this is our time. We might not be this excited about our football team ever again. Like this team might not ever come back again.
Whoa! No, don't
I'm
say
not
that.
saying I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like Kelsey will be gone. Some of the veterans going to be BG and all these guys going to be gone.
Let me ask you this: could you see Kelsey? BG, you go first. Listen, I don't believe he doesn't have to because we do got his replacement.
Mm-hmm.
But hearing him talk on his New Heights podcast, what I thought was 100% a last year for him. I really did. But the way he's playing, the way he's talking on that Jalen Hurts interview, he kind of they were talking about it. Could you see a magical one more year?
Honestly, the only way I see that happen if we lose like an NFC championship game or something. But we win it all, I could just see him going
then
out
he goes
like
to
that.
the Suns.
Yeah, he's going out.
Yeah.
All of them might go. They might have a retirement party together.
Can you imagine his epic speech on Broadway, bro? Like,
yeah,
bro,
I'll be there.
That's what I said. I'll be there. I'll be there to see it.
Yeah, and see, no matter how much we go through these streams, really discussing the ins and outs, at the end of the streams, it's all the fan talking. Because again, we do both things. We have, our, what we see cap, and we also have our bias cap, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Real quick, we got a couple more topics before we get out of here. We're closing in on that one hour mark. We do got 307 people watching. We are live on 3 channels. Again, next time we'll be live on Bryce Wolf's channel as well. Eagles Real Talk. But again, Jaquan coming in with the love. $5 banger. He said, Cowboy fans always say their defense is better, but we only gave up 1.5 points per game more than them. Then offensively, we sit players. They play all game for stats. I will say the Cowboys they've been running it up. They've been running it up, keeping Dak in there with 3 minutes left and stuff like that. We be sitting Jalen Hurts with like 7 minutes, 8 minutes left. Just let Minshew get some run.
That is a fact that you said that too. I'm like, if we cared about stats so much, we could have ran it up on the Steelers. Jalen Hurts could have just had 500, 600 yards against Tennessee. I think they just
somebody in the chat, I think it was Malik Weaver, said they have a trash run defense, and that's something that I don't think we talk about enough either. We have the best run. We have one of the best running attacks I've ever seen, man. I've been watching a lot of football over the years, and the way we can attack you on the ground, you never know when or where it's coming from. Even if it's a pass play, it could still be a run play with Jalen Hurts being able to just take off on you. So, if he sees the right or the left side of the field open, he's taking off for the first down. So I just think they have a good team. Don't get me wrong. The Cowboys are good, but I just think they have some holes that people don't talk about enough.
That's the thing, though. There was a time where, people were joking around. Eagles and Cowboys, the best teams in the NFC, but they got one thing in common. They both can't stop the run. Well, we went ahead and fixed it a little bit. Yep. Now, I haven't paid attention exactly how bad it's been down the stretch. I know teams have been gashing the Cowboys as they were the Eagles early in the season. So I got to pay attention to see if that was fixed or not. Now, when you're beating the Vikings by 30 and beating the Colts by 20, the run game goes out the window. But we'll see in a close game if they can stop the run. That is going to be on my to-do list. Shout out to Chris Brown with the $2 super chat. He said that would be a monumental loss, Kelsey. Hey, listen, I don't want to downplay Kelsey, but I am intrigued with Cam Jurgens. And mind you, Kelsey was involved in the pick. Jeff Stoutland vouched for him. Jeff Stoutland has been working with him. And as we see Reed Blankenship as an undrafted rookie free agent who caught Eagle fans' eyes in the preseason, is now showing what he can do with some PT. We all had our eye caught by Cam Jurgens getting to the second level. The dude, and listen, this is a high praise, but he looked like a Jason Kelsey Jr. So my thing is with Kelsey. He did.
He
So
looks like a clone, man.
a
The closest
clone.
you can
And
get.
that's no small task. But again, when you have one of the best offensive line coaches, you get handpicked by the GOAT coach and one of the best centers. I feel confident, but I would still entertain another year for my guy Kelsey. But as Al Kabir and BG said, that would be if we don't win the whole thing, because you really don't. Why would you come back if you could ride off in the sunset? You know what I mean?
Whether we win the Super Bowl or we not or we don't, man, I'm gonna be a little sad seeing Jason Kelsey retire for sure, man. He's been a hell of an Eagle, man, through and through.
He got a new career now. That podcast is fire.
Yeah.
It is.
Ridiculous.
Listen, I have my notifications on. I watch it every Wednesday when it premieres. You know what I mean? And then again, I don't. He says a little funny thing. I'm going to put it on my shorts. This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm out there just a little caption. You know what I mean? But I love their podcast. I love how they discuss football. I like Travis. And listen, it was funny when Travis was talking about AJ getting a Tennessee Titans guy fired. Oh my gosh. Kelsey was like trying to tell his brother to shut up, but without telling him to shut up. He was like, well, we don't know that for sure. And Travis just kept digging deep. And then he's like, I hope I don't get fired.
Yeah, that was
you can't fire Travis Kelsey. But listen, we got 309 watching. Hit the like button wherever you're watching. It's free, it's easy, don't cost a thing. Plus, look, each name to the left of us, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and check them out. We drop content throughout the week. Everybody has different opinions, different things. But we all cover the Eagles. It is what it is. You got any end thoughts before we get up out of here? BG?
Oh, well, man, just don't worry. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this ride. The Eagles going 16-1. We're going to win the Super Bowl. And it's going to be a great, great February for us. So we're going to keep dropping this fire content for the rest of the time till February. Jalen Hurts will win the MVP, and the Eagles will have 12 Pro Bowlers.
12 Pro Bowlers.
Yeah.
Wow.
12.
Yo, shout out to the Giants D coordinator. He said, I know we're not going to play the Pro Bowl this year, but the Pro Bowl's in Philly. they got all them guys on the offensive side. Wink. Give it. Listen, I know coaches at the podium give respect to the team, but the way Dayball and Wink, what's how you say his last name? Wink Martindale, I think it is. I never hear them give that. I mean, they were really, really praising this Eagles team. So we can't take that for granted though. The Eagles got to go out there and play. But I like what BG said. He said 12 Pro Bowlers. That's crazy. Go ahead, Al Kabir. What you got before we get up out of here?
Yeah, game by game, man. Let's just do this Sunday. Win this game. I will be watching the other games, see what the other teams do. Cowboys, they gonna win their game. But I'll be watching. If the Vikings play this week, I'll be watching them. I'll just watch everybody, see what they do, see how the NFC shake up. But game by game, that's all I can say.
So at the beginning of this year, I had a prediction of us going 15-2. Bird Gang 31 knows this. I was on his channel.
Mm-hmm.
People thought I was crazy, man. They said I was crazy. They're like, oh, you just a homer. You're too hyped. And look at us now, man. Look at us now. And I said, why not us? That was my whole thing. Why not us this year?
I say that every time I buy a lottery ticket.
Why not us? It was. I think, you talked about it earlier, us bringing in Reed and, some of these guys that have stepped up. Howie took care of business for us, man. Howie came through and he just flexed on the entire league, bro. He's getting other GMs fired, man. Like, just because, you know what I mean? He's finessing them so bad, he got another GM fired mid-season with a winning record.
Allegedly.
If you're not paying attention, man, this is chess. This ain't checkers. And we about to make, checkmate at the end of the year. And I just can't wait because, like I said, I seen after that CJ Gardner trade, I knew it was lit. I'm like, okay, now we got our safety. We had our corners. I think the defense is made, to just dominate. The offense is obviously doing their thing. And, I think just like Bird Gang said, man, sit back, enjoy the ride. You know what I mean? It obviously is a roller coaster sometimes. It's going crazy. But at the end of the day, This is seriously like no cap, bro. This is one of the best NFL rosters I think I've seen, man, from top to bottom. They have one hell, and if we didn't win this year, I'm gonna be disappointed. I know people are saying like, "Oh, even if we don't win the Super Bowl, it's awesome." Look how great we did this year. Nah, man. Some years you have to win it all, and this is one of those years. Our team is that good, and anything other than a Lombardi, I'd be disappointed. And like I said, man, I want to see Jason Kelce with the big speech at the end of the year at the parade. And I want to see Jalen Hurts get the MVP because a lot of people talk smack about him. And that's enough. People forget about this too, man. How he went and snagged him, bro, in the second round, and now he's the MVP. Man, we need to make a video just on Howie, bro. All the moves.
Right?
It needs to be Alcabir, the analyst, bro. You need to analyze that whole situation. He did some crazy work. He's doing some magic, bro. He's like, I'm gonna stop, man. I'm getting excited, bro. I can't.
He's like, we could go for one more hour.
But man, I'm in love with this team, man. I've been a fan of this team ever since the Vic era, bro. And just to see where it is now, coming full circle with another dual threat quarterback like how we have now, it's been an amazing year, special year, man. And I've just been having a lot of fun. So I just can't wait for it to keep going.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Howie deserves his flowers for sure. Just perfectly executed. And again, I think we're going to even praise him more when we get to see how he holds these one-year contracts together while, let's see what he does with Miles, CJ, TJ, Marcus Epps, James Bradbury, Kaiser White, while he has these 2 first-round draft picks, while he has to orchestrate something for Jalen Hurts, but let's see what he can do under that as well. Jaquan Williams with another banger, the MVP of the stream for sure.
The real MVP.
The real MVP. He said, Cowboys are due for a slip-up outside of us. Watch and listen in Cowboy fashion. They could be always focused on the Eagles. I don't know if the Texans can do it, even because they're the Texans and they lost Cook and Collins.
They don't got no one.
But I don't know who they got after. Who did they got? Does anybody know who the Cowboys got after this?
I'll check.
I think like Jacksonville or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of easy till they get to us.
But as Jaquan said, maybe a December Christmas slip up. I ain't mad at it at all. Listen, I agree with all y'all points.
The Titans too.
That's after us though, right?
The Titans on a Thursday night. Week, it looks like week 17. That could definitely be a slip-up game.
That could be a slip-up.
Yeah, because listen, I don't see them duplicating the stop Henry method we got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not built like that, especially in the cold weather. Mm-hmm. They're not gonna be in their little cozy dome and whatnot. I can see them slipping up that game. Especially, I think the Titans are gonna need it more than them. So
I don't know. That division is so bad. The Titans can just cruise for the lead of the AFC South.
Cowboys also have the Commanders last game of the season at Washington. They got some tricky games, man. I don't think they can be, too worried about us. They should be taking it week by week because, they're not in the driver's seat yet. We are.
Nah, they in the back. They in
the trunk.
Y'all want a Happy Meal back there? You know what I mean? They in the back. Car seat. You know what I mean? For us with young kids still. But listen, I appreciate everybody watching. Like I said, look at the names on the screen. Go check their channels out. All you got to do is type it in the search bar. As easy as that. We're going to be covering the Eagles like we do. Great season upon us. Man, I like it week by week, but in the back of my head, I can't wait to get to the playoffs, especially if the road is through Philly. That is going to be no small task for any team to come through and get a dub there with the best fan base, the loudest fan base. I was there at the ATL game, division round. We had a bye week. We came off the bye. I was there. It was freezing. And the Eagles have these things that spin for how loud a stadium is. They were all spinning. It was loud, and that was the first win to what we know as the 2017-18 Super Bowl. Just on the Jalen Hurts MVP thing before we leave, I honestly was one that said, yes, the whole season I was calling him an MVP candidate, but I thought it was really, really close, and I was not mad at anybody who said Pat Mahomes was over Jalen Hurts. I honestly said I can honestly agree with it, but these last 2 weeks is what separated it for me. What I would say.
People were saying Mahomes, but how could you be the MVP if you have 2 game-losing interceptions? 2. I don't think any other quarterback can say that this year. On the final drive, when it was money time, he threw 2 interceptions. Jalen Hurts has been, on the other hand, he's been straight money. You know what I mean? He's been cash, when we need him. And that's the MVP. You're the most valuable player. You're not costing your team wins. You're doing all the right things, especially in crunch time. And that's why I'm just going to end that Mahomes stuff. Honestly, I think Burrow is going to end up surpassing him in the AFC. He can't even beat Burrow. I mean, that's another podcast.
That's another question for you.
So I think Burrow is actually trending up in the MVP race. Tua kind of fell off. He looked like 2021 Tua last week against the 49ers. So I think it's a 3-man race between Mahomes, Burrow, and Hurts. But Hurts he's got to win it.
Well, yeah.
If he doesn't win it, it'd be a robbery.
Tragedy.
They be robbing Philly. You saw what they did to my man Embiid. You know what they did to my guy Embiid? Nikola Jokic is good, but come on, they took Embiid's best center. I mean, that's Shaq numbers right there. But anyways, I agree. But again, I would still, if you ask me, I said Jalen Hurts. But I was not mad at anybody who said Pat Mahomes. I wouldn't call him dumb, or I would say I can definitely see that point. But I think in the last 2 weeks, with big wins, with 40 points and 35 points put up against the Packers and Titans in different fashion from Jalen Hurts, 310 total yards against the Packers, but 150 of them being rushes, and then 380 yards against the Titans, the first player in history to be that versatile, because there's no player who rushed for 150 and then came out the next game and threw for 300. That right there, with Mahomes losing to Burrow and the stats in the last 2 games weren't that great, I think that really separated him. So now I can honestly say front runner is Jalen Hurts through my eyes, and that's as unbiased as I can be.
Cowboys fan talk just said he gonna have 5,000 yards and you talking 2 interceptions. No, it's not just 2 interceptions, Chief. It's actually 2 game-losing interceptions.
And he has 8 interceptions.
It was in the second quarter and he threw that pick. No, it was money time. He lost it against the Bills, and I think it was against the Colts or something crazy. So, no, bud, it's not just 2 interceptions with 5,000 yards. When you cost your team an L, that's like 5 interceptions in 1, bro. You're losing the game. So,
see, and that's the thing with
Cowboys fan talk. I'm gonna get you on the channel, bro. I think we have some good debates, bro. So I'm gonna holler at you. I'm gonna get at your Twitter.
And that's the thing with Patrick Mahomes. That's the argument with him, is that he might put up historic passing yards. Yeah. So that's gonna be hard to argue. That is.
But this is a passing league, man. I mean, he can throw for over 5,000 yards. I mean, they're doing it every year now. I mean, it's not like it was like
if he breaks the season,
like it used to be.
If he breaks the season single record, then you still got to talk about that. But again,
for sure,
Jalen Hurts still has an opportunity. Again, we still got 4 or 5 games left. We're not talking about if it's over right now. I'm gonna say this though: if Jalen Hurts can get to that 4,000 and 1,000, not saying he needs to. I don't need him to rush to get it. I don't want him to sacrifice his body. If we sit our players, we sit our players. It's cool. It's cool. Now with the Chiefs losing to the Bengals and the Bills still flirting with the first seed, right? There's an opportunity where the Chiefs got to play their last game. You know what I mean? So again, Chiefs play their last game. Jalen Hurts sits. All that can change. True. What I'm saying is, I agreed with anybody who said Mahomes was the guy. I think the last 2 weeks, Hurts took the leap. We got to see how we finish, but a 4K passer and a 1K rusher has never been done the same way. What's his name? Mahomes might break records. So it all still got to play out, But I do think Hurts, Mahomes, they're the ones racing.
Mahomes had 2 big losses to teams that he should be beating at this point. If they're supposedly the best team in the AFC, they lost to the Bills, and last week they lost to Burrow and the Bengals. Those are
that
2
coach
teams
loss.
That coach loss. And then he has one super horrible L and that's to the Colts, especially at the beginning of the season when they were super trash. So I don't know. I couldn't give him the MVP award over a guy who's, also doing historic numbers but has the best record in the league. I couldn't take it away from him.
Yeah, trust me.
The
I'm
funny thing
going
is,
with Hurts though.
in 17, right? Like everybody knew Carson won the MVP, and Hurts has better numbers now than Carson did, that year. But everybody knew it that year. There's like Carson MVP until he got hurt, and it was like, okay, he's not MVP no more. But now we're seeing it. Like no one wants to give him the respect that he deserves. Like he is different quarterback. He's not like any of these other quarterbacks. Like you guys say, the dynamic playmaking on rushing the ball and passing the ball. Like no one else is doing that. Like they might have better overall arm, or can run a little faster, but the combination. I heard Hurts makes these rushing yards, these 80-yard games where it's like he's just running, like freestyle running. He's not taking hits. He just sees the field. Oh, it's open. I'm gonna run 20 yards and get out of bounds. Like it's not like impactful where you got worried about the guy at all. And he's only getting better. It was the whole fact that he came to a system for the second year in a row. You know what I'm saying? That was the key. Now he understands what he's doing out there. Now he can see it before it happens out there. And he's doing it. And it was already unfair last year. He was an argument to be a Pro Bowler last year when no one wants to give him credit for being good. And I knew the progression should be MVP. And it's not even just this year. You got to watch this guy for the rest of his career. You know what I'm saying? Patty might got that big, MVP and this huge contract, but the times are changing, and I think it's gonna be, you'll start hearing players, oh, is this player like Hurts? Is this player like Hurts moving forward? Because he's something different, man. He's something different.
And listen again, he did throw 155 yards against the Dallas Cowboys. It's neither here or there, though. At the end of the day, we're looking at it. If he can suffice 212 yards, he's gonna get that 4K, and it's about the rushing time. Will he rush enough to get that 1K? It's going to be close. But again, it's more of a wait and see for me. But at the end of the day, the Eagles are winning football games. The MVP is a nice little accolade. And this is nice. And this is nice. Finally get a 1K receiver. But the stats are for talking. The wins are for advancing. And we got all them things. With that being said, 16 minutes over. Great conversation. The wifey's rushing me now, food shopping, Christmas shopping, you know what I mean? Nah, it's all good though. Hey, listen, I couldn't do this without her. You know what I mean? I got kids. She be rocking the kids. I tell my son, he's like, let's play Jenga. I'm like, right after the live stream, he's like, that's gonna be an hour. I'm like, an hour is quick. Keep the main thing, the main thing.
Keep the main thing.
The main thing. Like,
but listen, I appreciate all you guys. Again, hit the like button wherever you're watching. Still 290 in the chat. Subscribe to the channels. And until next time, y'all know what time it is. We out. Peace.
Peace.